While most of the world is still talking about building quantum technology infrastructure, there's this one European company that is already building it behind the scenes and creating the neural network that is kind of controlling the quantum computing architecture globally. I'm talking about a company called Creotech, based in Poland, and actually, when I started looking at this company, they were considered, from my point of view, to be one of those hidden quantum players. However, they made a bold move because in 2026, where I'm recording this video, they spun off another entity which is focused on quantum technology, and they actually brought this to the investment market. With that, also a quick disclaimer, what I'm talking about here is not considered to be investment advice. Whatever you are doing is your own private decision and should not be influenced by anyone externally. I cannot and probably also don't want to give you any investment advice. I'm just curious about the technology. And if you are interested in learning more about that as well, then stay tuned for today's video as we are diving deeper into Creotech. And with that, let's start on the main website. So here we are on the company website. And you see it's very much space themed and space branded. So you see a satellite here. Space is open for us. And then when you scroll down here, you also see the big European space players. So you see ESA, for example, you see Airbus, you see Thales Alenia Space entity, and so on and so forth. So you see there's a lot of space-related activity, but then if you're scrolling down, you see that besides that, they're also doing scientific applications, so scientific instrumentation, and geospatial applications as well. They are active in the manufacturing, so they're building these electric circuit boards and let's say scientific devices in a very sovereign kind of way that is being used in aerospace, automotive, medical industries, and so on and so forth, as well as certified by the European Space Agency for space applications, right? And yeah, you see down here, there's not much talk about quantum on this side. If you're looking at the company, so there's a little bit about this here in this about us section. So Creotech Instruments SA is Poland's largest integrator and manufacturer for satellite systems and subsystems, specializing in advanced projects for the space sector. The company offers end-to-end satellite missions, dedicated systems, and technologies used in highly demanding space-related applications. Now, I could go on, but that doesn't really tell us much about the quantum side of things. However, if we are looking here at the science section, I think we can get a better understanding. Looking at this, we see that here already some optics, we see lasers, lenses, mirrors, what typically is expected in those, let's say, optically active quantum technology applications. Reading the text down here, it says the design, manufacture, and supply of advanced control and measurement systems for research institutes and technology startups worldwide are carried out by Creotech Quantum SA, a company established as a separate company following a spin-off from Creotech Instruments SA. Creotech Quantum SA's products are tailored to the needs of large-scale scientific infrastructures and big science projects, including particle accelerators, extreme light sources, tokamaks, and major astronomical observatories, as well as quantum and atomic physics research laboratories. So we see that here this science branch is kind of split apart, and the systems that are being sold here, so you see, for example, this White Rabbit switch, you will see this as we are going into the quantum branch as well. And with that, let's jump right there. So here we are. It says now Quantum Creotech. So this is the quantum branch. It says Quantum Solutions, Real World Impact. And this is actually, according to their claim, the first European company that is a pure quantum play and made an IPO within the European Union. So you see also up here, it's a European Union branded company. And they are also publicly, as far as I understand, available. They are a spin-off of the Creotech that we've looked at before. Now, with that, let's quickly go through it. So what areas are they actually active in? So you see quantum communication, time and frequency, synchronization, qubit control, and then also specialized cameras and detectors. So on the quantum communication, our quantum key distribution QKD systems solves a critical problem in modern communications and the secure transmission of encryption keys in an era of rapidly evolving cyber threats. The system is scalable, easy to deploy, and integrates seamless with existing infrastructure. It is built in compliance with the ISO 23837 -1 certification standard. Quick zoom out on this topic. So if you are interested in learning more about these different categories, qubits versus quantum communication versus quantum sensors, if you want to understand the market, not only in the European Union, but globally, then we have actually something for you, and that is more or less what is sponsoring this video. It is our Quantum Ecosystems course, and this is open for pre-registration right now. You can find the link down in the description. So if you are either an executive that is, let's say, looking into expanding into new technologies for your company and making strategic acquisitions, if you are an investor and are looking for companies to invest into in a seed investment round, in an ABCD funding round, or guiding a company towards an IPO that is based in the quantum technologies, as well as if you are a founder and you want to understand how actually the market looks like, then this course might be the right thing for you. So if you are interested in that, check out the link below. And with that, let's come back to the actual website of this company here. So this was about quantum communication. Now let's look into the second point, which is time and frequency synchronization. So with Rabbit and White Rabbit, and that's the one that we were looking at before, right? That we also saw on Creotech, the original company, is an ultra-precise time and frequency synchronization system designed for long-distance data transmission. Developed at CERN and rigorously tested under the extreme conditions of the world's most powerful particle accelerator, it delivers picosecond level synchronization accuracy for large distributed systems, enabling precise timestamping of acquired data. Then there's qubit control. Both the Sinara Arctic ecosystem and the MTCA4 standard feature modularity, high time precision, and the ability to implement fast response control systems. Sinara Arctic acts as the lab's command center, providing nanosecond level synchronization, low noise multi-channel readout, and flexible configuration. With MTCA4 extends the capabilities of high-frequency radio frequency applications requiring sub-nanosecond accuracy. Both solutions are widely adopted in quantum research and large scale. And then finally, I think the most exotic one is the specialized cameras and detectors. So our autonomous, high sensitivity, high-speed cameras up to 135 frames per second with 2020 sensor in high-speed mode, support advanced research applications including astronomical observations. Key features: on-camera real-time data processing, which happens, by the way, with FPGAs. Exceptionally low noise, high quantum efficiency, so more than 90%, high resolution, 2048 by 2048 with the 2020 sensor, and then 6,144 squared with the 6060 sensor. These are the different components. And I think it's kind of clear what they are doing, likely, if you have seen the previous videos. If not, go check out the Hidden Quantum Champions playlist. What is important to note here is there's a huge product portfolio. So if we are going, and let's maybe quickly do that before we move down here. If we are going at the products catalog, we see here all these different products, and we see that's 4 pages full of products, which for such a young company that started just a couple of months ago, when I'm recording this, it's I think it was in April, now it's July. So such a young company, so many products, I would become, let's say, kind of careful with that. However, and that's why I showed you the other one before, this is not because they have been super rapidly coming up with new product proposals and just throwing stuff out there, but they're actually taking stuff that has already been developed by the mother company, and they're repurposing that. They're basically respinning that into something that is specifically for quantum. Likely for a lot of stuff, they will just take exactly the same and do minimal, maybe even no modulations at all, and just resell it as a quantum thing. Likely down the road, they will also have, let's say, specific products that only being sold via the quantum branch, that only play a role for quantum related applications. But for now, that's how this huge product portfolio comes into place. And as you saw from the text that I also went through before, this is stuff that is already being proven to work, that is being used in, though it's likely mostly research applications, that has already been used at scale. So at CERN, usually you don't just sell 2 of those boxes, they use a lot of them because they have a lot of data that is being produced and being processed at high frequencies, because there's a lot of data coming in that has to be processed very efficiently. And that's where these machines have been developed for originally, and that's where they can now be, let's say, refurbished for quantum, because there you have, let's say, also very high demand on low latency, specific kind of analytics, error mitigation, error correction, right? Signal processing. Oftentimes, the Christ-based systems work on radio frequency. So if you're thinking about, let's say, superconducting qubits, if you want to prepare states, if you want to apply gates, that usually happens via radio frequency application. So you basically work on these gigahertz frequencies, which then in turn also means that you have to be able to process certain data in this gigahertz range. And that makes this requirement for these devices here, and that's where probably the interesting part comes in. Now, quickly going back to the starting page, because we haven't been finishing on that one. So here it says again, we are part of the Creotech family, which roots dating back to 2012, which is more than 10 years ago, right? So 15 years almost. Since 2026, we have operated independently as a public company listed on the Warsaw Stock Exchange. So that's when they spun off as the first pure quantum player in Europe. We develop best-in-class systems for control and measurement, time synchronization, and quantum communication, serving research institutes, deep tech startups, companies, and public institutions worldwide. Our solutions deliver precision and reliability even in the most demanding environments. Now, that said, I think probably interesting for the listed applications, and also interesting for all of the, as a supplier for all of those companies that are working in the quantum communication space that, for example, want to use space-based quantum communication setups. So I went through a couple of them that are trying to use satellites, for example, to host quantum communication hubs or to build end-to-end quantum key distribution schemes. And here, for example, the components that Creotech Quantum can deliver are interesting because they date back to this Creotech original branch, right, which is very capable in building space certified stuff. Now, quickly about the leadership team, you see it here. So you have the CEO, which surprisingly, I think that's really kind of sad that I have to point it out, but a unique thing. So here we have a female CEO, which is also very active on the technical side, vice president, and then also director of engineering and PMO. So let's say a small kind of leadership team that is being presented here. There's a couple of trusted buys down here. So you see Alpine Quantum Technologies, which we featured, Inflection, which I incorrectly pronounced and made a video on. There's Oxford Ionics as well as many others listed down here. So players that are known in the quantum field. And if you haven't heard about them, again, go check out the Hidden Quantum Champions playlist. Then a couple of case studies linked down here as well. I'm not going to go through all of those now. And then some announcements. Again, I'm recording this in July of 2026. You see here, this is April 2026. So these ones are when the company went public. So maybe not super up to date, but I would say decently up to date because it's also not that long, right? Since this. And then down here you see some way to reach out to them. They're based in Warsaw. in Poland, and then you have like contact dates down here. Now, quickly going to the news section. No, there's nothing else to see than what we've seen before. There's investor relations, of course, products about the company. I assume that mainly we see what we've seen before, right? Yeah, I think that's everything that we've been seeing before. Interesting also to see that there's a QUIC, the Quantum Industry Consortium, mentioned up here as well. And yeah, I think that's probably it. I don't want to, let's say, go into all of the products because I think that would make the video way too long. But in case you are, let's say, requiring a provider that can provide you with some of the components that I talked about before, might be worth checking out Creotech Quantum in particular on this specific regard. With that, I thank you again for staying all the way until the end. Please make sure to stay hydrated, and I'm looking forward to see you in the next video. Until then, bye bye.